Today is Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025. Call the meeting to order at 3 p.m. To the adoption of the agenda, we've been notified of a change to the agenda. Be it resolved that the agenda be amended to move item 4, public meeting, and item 5.2A, bylaw 2025 dash. Sorry. Let me start that again. Call the meeting to order. Today's Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025, and it's 3 p.m. And we're going to adopt the agenda. We're notified of a change to the agenda, and it be it resolved that the agenda be amended to move item 4, public meeting, and item 5.2A, bylaw 2025-51, to the end of the meeting after council comments. Moved by, do I have a mover? The Deputy Mayor Bergeron, seconded by Councillor Uhrig. All those in favor? Opposed, seeing none, that's carried. Any disclosures of pecuniary interest and nature thereof?
No, sir.
Seeing none. Yeah, we're going to move right into staff reports. Corporate Services Clerk, Ms. Johnson. It's referring to bylaw number 2025-01, Officers and Committees Update, July 2nd, 2025. Do I have a mover? Councillor Annable, and a seconder, Councillor Uhrig. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-01, being a bylaw for the appointment of officers, committees, agents, staff, volunteers, and other associations, be approved and amended as the second day of July 2025. Ms. Johnson.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. As you know, you've seen this bylaw a few times. It's a fluid document that we just update from time to time to keep it current with staff. These two changes are requested by the CAO. The first one is to have Logan Stanley appointed as the Acting Director of Financial Services and our Treasurer, and to have herself appointed as a Deputy Clerk.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, seeing none, that's been approved. We're going to move down to 5.2B. Mr. Pohl, noise exemption, Farmer John summer party. Moved by, do I have a mover? Councillor Uhrig, a seconder. Councillor Annable. Be it resolved that council deny the request to obtain a temporary exemption permit to nuisance bylaw number 2016-20 for an event located at 13346 Forward Road, Chesterville, from 11 p.m. on July 26, 2025 until 2:30 a.m. on July 27, 2025. Mr. Pohl.
Thank you, Mayor Fraser, members of council. This is a similar request we've had many years over, same kind of request. It's been denied by council. We're recommending a denial once again of this event for a noise exemption. The OPP have indicated they're also not in support of this request from Farmer John for this party, annual party.
Thank you for that. Questions, comments? Deputy Mayor.
My only comment is that every year the public, the people around him complain about the noise, and yet every year he requests us to allow him to make noise, and so no, I don't agree with it. 11 p.m. I wouldn't like it if I was living next door listening to all that noise up until 2:30 in the morning.
Thank you for your thoughts. Councillor Uhrig.
I guess I will say, like, whether we approve, deny this or not, what is the recourse here? Because he goes beyond it anyway. Whether we approve it or not, it goes beyond it. Ask anybody in the Thompson subdivision or anybody across the highway. It happens regardless. I will give Farmer John full credit. The money he does raise often goes to the hospital, and he should be applauded for that. But beyond that, he's going to go beyond 11 o'clock regardless. So is this just status quo? Like, we say no, but it's going to happen anyway.
I'm guessing that's rhetorical. We'll have to I think maybe Mr. Pohl can answer, would answer to what recourse is available to the public, if any is desired.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Fraser. So we do have fines in place for people that exceed the noise limits. We will be on site that evening to make sure that occurs, that we record what's going on and the excessive noise. If it happens again, we will be fining. We're also looking at moving through the court system this time to actually impose heavier fines if it continues like this, to put an end to it, so it doesn't extend over.
Thank you.
Okay, anything further? All those in favor of the denial? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. Madam Clerk, I see 5.2C, request for lot frontage exemption for 10385 Clark Road. Will there be anything to that, Mr. Paul?
Yes, if I may. So this is a request from a farmer trying to purchase a piece of land from a neighboring farmer that was merged. It's a severance request. Two parcels back in the day when you bought a neighbor's property and you had it in the same name, they merged. That has stopped in Ontario now in the last almost 2 years now. They changed the legislation so these no longer merge. So the Swartzes are trying to resever these two parcels back to the way they were. A neighbor farms it already, and they would like to sell it to that neighbor. He's to the north in that image. So he actually farms right through the road allowance right now. The road allowance is there on paper, but it doesn't really show on the earth. When you look from aerial photography, he farms right through it. So this will connect the properties he now wants to buy rather than rent, which is the Midley farm. So this will enable him, with council support, to have a new lot that doesn't have road frontage. Because normally when you sever land, you have to have a certain amount of road frontage. Agricultural properties can be exempted from having road frontage only if council supports it. So this is a request, an initial request to say, would council support this application before they move it forward through the process and pay the money? If council's not going to support it, well, then obviously they'd have to look at different options to get road frontage or somehow make it work.
Okay, so for my benefit, I'm sure, this is more of a straw poll?
Yeah, for
And
now.
so just to give some understanding to the applicant or the potential applicant.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so how do members of council feel? Deputy Mayor.
Okay, so I remember the law a few years back where if you bought the neighboring land and you put it in your name of your own property, it was automatically merged. And that's what happened in this case, but originally it was two separate lots.
That's correct.
The property next door to the east is in the same situation where he has that lot, there's road allowance, but he owns the road, he owns the property north that does have road access. So even though the second Lanson under the red line has no road well, that's a road allowance, it's not a road. The Lanson property north of that attaches, so he comes through already. And so basically, the second guy to the west is asking the same thing because he owns the property north and wants to do the same thing. So I have no issue with that.
Thank you. Further thoughts on the request? Councillor Urick.
No, it looks pretty straightforward, just even looking at the map there. It's just sort of tying together properties that are already, kind of abutting one another, right? So that makes sense to me.
Thank you. Councillor Annabelle.
I concur with my cohorts over here that it just makes sense to do, makes it easier for him, and it really doesn't affect us all that much.
Thank you. So, Mr. Paul, I think there's some direction provided for that, for the applicant or the potential applicant to be comfortable with proceeding.
Okay, yep, and I'll take that back, and we'll probably come with a full resolution and everything for the counties at the next meeting.
Thank you. We're going to move to fire. And Chief Raystrick, it's about establishing and regulating bylaw number 63-98 be repealed upon date of passing bylaw number 2025-54. Do I have a mover? Deputy Mayor, seconder. Councillor Annabelle. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-54 being a bylaw to establish a fire department within the township of North Dundas be passed and enacted the second day of July 2025. Chief Raystrick.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Yeah, this change is basically just tidying up some verbiage, adding a little bit, mostly to the definitions. One of the things that we wanted to make sure is that all of these things were covered. I did forewarn you in 22 when I brought this to you that I'd be coming back a few more times. Some of this is also to do with the changes that are being made by the OFM that they're mandating to us. we may find ourselves having to come back and list the actual services that we are going to offer as part of this bylaw in the future. So when it comes by July 1st, 2028, we will be back revisiting some aspects of this bylaw. So one thing that was noted by staff, there is a definition, volunteer firefighter. And I know some people, because North Dundas firefighters are paid, they're like, well, we're not volunteers. And the FPPA defines career and volunteer. That's it. There's only two types of firefighters, volunteer or career. And by definition, volunteer means you're doing it by choice. It's a military term, right? So you're doing it by choice, not reference paid or unpaid.
Yeah, thank you for clearing that up. I know for my time during being on the fire, in the fire service, you'd be not challenged so much, but questioned as to, you know, volunteers and stipends and honorariums and all of that. And I would quite often do just what you're doing, just say, it's legislated as such.
Yes.
And that's the only way to define it. Questions, comments from members of council? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, seeing none, that's carried. Thank you, Chief. And we'll move to the next item. I think you wanted to speak to pumper replacement.
Yes, sorry. Director Cheney was trying to steal the mic from me there. I wanted to get it back from him, so.
No doubt, it's an expensive mic,
If
I'm
he'd
sure.
like to speak to it, I'd be happy to let him to, but no. Yes, so Pump One, which is stationed in Morwood, is a 1999 Carl Tebow fire apparatus whose primary duty is to provide water. This truck has served us for 26 years, but upcoming repairs are estimated at $60,000 to $80,000, which is expensive for a 26-year-old piece of equipment. As the needs of our municipality has changed and we've evolved as a fire service, the most feasible option is not to replace this with a single-use apparatus, and therefore purchasing a unit called a rescue pump, which Mayor Fraser you'd be familiar with, of course, but to the other members of council, this is a unit that it will house more people, more equipment, and will be able to attend to more emergencies with one apparatus, and that's kind of the way we should be looking towards our fire service. Also, I'd like to reference that Policy 59-2013 was a policy adopted over a decade ago to standardize the fleet, and that purchasing a rescue pump, replacing this one would satisfy that policy as well.
Thank you for that update. Questions, comments from members of council? Councillor Urick.
It's obviously not an inexpensive venture, but certainly good to, due diligence on the part of the fire service overall, just to be aware of where our fleet is at and, replacing as required. So thank you, Chief.
Yes, and in light that we have some time before the public meeting, would you go into more detail, if you would, Chief, about some of the advantages that are going to be found with the change in some of the equipment that's going to take place, or potentially take place, or some of your plan? And
My
I know it's
plan,
not.
yeah,
I know
sure.
it's not solid. I mean, it is solid, but it's not cast in stone.
It's not correct.
But yeah, and we got some people in the audience that might like to hear some of those thoughts. I'd like to hear them again.
Okay. So yes, this some of our fleet is aging, of course. However, some of it can be repurposed. We have a 19, sorry, that's a 99. The 2002 ambulance, former ambulance, which we turned into an air shuttle, which is definitely due to be replaced next year. By purchasing this truck, we're going to be able to retire that unit from service and actually lower our number of units that we're going to be maintaining and operating. The same, we'll be able to transport more people with fewer vehicles, thereby increasing our efficiency, getting people to scene quicker, and they're going to have the tools to do the job right away. So with a rescue pump, they're going to show up. They're going to be able to do vehicle extrications. Those tools will be stored on this truck. They will be able to fight a fire regardless of what kind of fire it is, what, be it a structure fire, car fire, wildland fire, they're going to be able to do that with this truck. Then, also being a rescue pump, we're going to pull tools off of the current rescue that is in that station. And as we have to move forward, as you know, we got a grant earlier this year. We were successful with cancer prevention. That is a huge, huge thing that the fire service, the OFM, we're all pushing for, you know, better wellness for our firefighters long term. And by pulling tools off of that rescue, we're going to turn it into a hazmat, rehab, recovery, and air shuttle. So we're going to take 3 trucks into 2 trucks and make them just more efficient and better serving the future of the fire service.
Yeah, thank you for that description. I've my time in the fire service, and on a hot day in your bunker gear that protects you from external heat, but the internal heat you generate, you need to have somewhere to rehab. You need somewhere to sit down and cool off. You need to get it into a spot and where you're able to be comfortable. And with the change in the demographics, and I think back to early days for me, getting on the fire service, the way we would conduct ourselves whenever, to be blunt, the call of nature knocks on your door. Those things need to change and must change. And I think this rehab, I think there's plans afoot for this rehab to provide better management of staff and
Yeah, one of the
residents.
aspects is a relief facility
There you
in the
There you
apparatus.
Yeah, it's do that. So there's that, and something that's been a long-standing concern for many firefighters and the OFM is donning and doffing of gear, being sure everyone's ready for the scene whenever the scene whenever you get to the scene, that you're ready for the scene, and this equipment will ensure that everyone's ready and in the proper fashion with their PPE to do the tasks that they put their hand up to do. So, John, welcome. We're just discussing. The chief was just talking. Would give us a key information report on the updated the pumper replacement. Do you have thoughts on that?
No thoughts, Mr. Mayor.
Fair enough. Okay, so there's nothing further from members of council. Next steps, chief, would be
Sorry, yes. Next steps, we have started speaking with different manufacturers. So the next step would be an action request at the next meeting. We'll bring back, one of the things that we have to do is secure a cabin chassis. The cabin chassis come from the standard truck manufacturers. I don't see the desire or the need to have a custom cab truck, which adds about another $200,000 to the cost of the apparatus. We can certainly get by with the conventional cab truck, but we have to secure this. And as the report states, if we secure it in early August, September of this year and commit to the purchase, we will be able to buy in the first quarter, and they are anticipating about a $45,000 increase in the second quarter of 26 to just the cabin chassis. So if that goes through, the same truck that is in that drawing today was purchased by another municipality for $690,000, and the anticipated price already for the first quarter is $735,000. So, and then it'll be $780,000 by this time next year. And the longer we prolong it, the more it's going to hurt, to be honest. So, and truthfully, one of the other things that has come up just recently, since actually writing this report, is the possibility that UL, Underwriters Laboratories, is only going to certify pumps for 25 years, and then the trucks will have to be taken back to UL for the pump portion to be recertified, which falls in line with FUS. We've all talked about FUS in the past. And as you know, we heard rumblings in 2016, 2017 about NFPA certifications becoming mandatory in Ontario. In 2023, they came into effect. We start hearing this stuff now from UL. 3, 4, 5 years from now, is that going to come into effect? And this truck is going to cost us, I don't know how much to certify or to recertify. So do we put potentially a couple $100,000 into a 25-year-old truck now, or bite a slightly bigger bullet but have one that lasts us for 25 years?
Okay. Thoughts, comments?
I've yet to hear anything negative about the whole thing. I think it's a move that you have to try and keep up with to keep things in operating order. So no, I think it's a good move.
Thank you.
Councillor Urick?
I mean, just honestly, further to what I already said, I think it's just necessary efficiencies, you know, just given the state and the change in the fire service, and, you know, the more, I don't know, lean is not necessarily the right word, but the more efficient, again, to use that word, that we can operate, the better. And I mean, especially, as you know, these kind of mandates come down from on high, and, you know, despite the size of our fire service, we have to sort of fall in line regardless, right? So it's good just to be prepared for these things. So thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Good.
I don't think we have any choice. I mean, we have a truck that's 26 years old, and it's way behind the times, and we have no choice. We have to replace it. It's too costly, and no, it's the only choice I can see right now.
Thank you.
I think one of the keys that the chief has spoke about is the efficiency, and I think that's not just an efficiency with the capital, but it's efficiency with staffing and getting staffing to the scene to have vehicles go up and down the road with one person in it just to get all the vehicles out. Doesn't make a lot of sense either. As staffing becomes more and more of a challenge, we need to become more efficient with our capacity. Correct? I think the consensus is we do understand that
The need is there.
the need is there. We yes, because quickly those 26-year-old trucks will become 35-year-old trucks, and then there'd be be tough to get them repaired just to
Yes.
keep them on the road. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Going to move into transportation and the Morwood Remembrance Day service. Do I have a mover? Councillor Urick, a seconder. Councillor Lennox. Be it resolved that council not approve the request for township staff to assume responsibility on an annual basis for tasks in relation to the Remembrance Day service in Morwood, specifically completing the required multi-page event, application report, placing barricades at designated road closure locations, and coordinating such with the fire department, and organizing the temporary stoppage of traffic on County Road 7 and County Road 13 for approximately 1 hour. Director Cheney.
Thank you, Mayor Fraser, members of council. At the November 7th, 2024 council meeting, there was a request from a member of the Morwood Remembrance Day service for township staff to assume responsibility on an annual basis for the following tasks in relation to the Remembrance Day service in Morwood. 1, completing the required multi-page event application and/or report. 2, placing barricades at designated road closure locations. And 3, coordinating with the fire department and organizing the temporary stoppage of traffic on County Road 7 and County Road 13 for approximately 1 hour. Excuse me. If township was to complete the required multi-page event application, the form we supply for organizers are a special event that involve township property and is user-friendly and easy to navigate. In the event that the requirement for event organizers to sign the form or manage the road closure be waived, the township would bear full responsibility for the liability associated with the road closure and the deployment of volunteers and/or staff to perform these tasks. Recognizing that this is a reoccurring event with low risk, we have proactively supported this group by waiving insurance needs, organizing the purchase of wreaths, organizing township attendance, supplying all the necessary signs, supplying the necessary Ontario Traffic Manual Book 7 training, maps, public notices of the road closures, and permits from the SDNG counties. Under our current policy 104-2024, Section 10 states the following. The applicant agrees to assume all responsibility for compliance with regulations regarding SOPs and with other applicable legislation, including but not limited to the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act, the rules with respect to the fire and building codes, nuisance bylaws, street closures, lottery schemes, etc., and provide any additional details as may be requested by the municipality. By signing, you agree that you have read and understand these terms and conditions of the public event policy number 104-2024. Failure to abide by these terms and conditions may result in cancellation and/or withdrawal of municipal support for any future events, including those already approved by the municipality. In Ontario, to be to be authorized to temporarily close a road, the persons involved require training in Ontario Traffic Manual Book 7, a traffic plan of the closure, and an emergency route plan. These need to be kept on site should they be requested from authorities. Currently, staff do a 15 to 20-minute in-house training with all volunteers for public events to suffice the training component and give organizers the necessary paperwork required to keep on hand. The preparation of the event applications, the coordination of road closures, including barricade placement, sign allocations, and communications with emergency services, and residents inside the road closures are typically the responsibility of the event organizers and volunteer staff. And finally, coordinating with the fire department and organizing the temporary stoppage of traffic on County Roads 7 and 13. While township staff are available to provide guidance and support to community organizers, the level of involvement requested necessitates a significant operational commitment. This would potentially require staff presence at all barricades, resulting in overtime wages. Township staff and resources must remain focused on core municipal operations and equitable support for all community events. Therefore, approving this request could set a precedent, potentially leading to similar expectations from other groups that organize numerous events throughout the township.
Thank you, Director Cheney. Questions, comments? Councilor Lennox.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out there and say I think this one's worth defeating. 2 years ago, this council sat here and told the public that Remembrance Day Parade here in Winchester, low-risk event, we'll support it, we'll keep it off the insurance books or supply the insurance or something along those lines. The Morwood event, as the mayor, deputy mayor know, who I saw in attendance last year, is well organized. It has well attended. We are drawing from Russell and surrounding area. The organizers, they can fill out a form. So what I see you asking here, can you scroll up, please? Up a little higher? A little bit higher. So, number one, just completing one multi-page event application. We're not, what I believe Mr. Smurl and organizers are asking for is one application for this event to be on November 11th every year from X o'clock in the morning to 11:10. Number two, placing 3 barricades, not that difficult. Number 3, coordinating with the chief who sits to your left and asking Chief Raystrick to reach out and see if there's anybody out of the 70-something firefighters who can assist, or any other staff to the members sitting to your left and right who are able to teach or do this 10-minute training, 20-minute in-house training. I just don't see a large negative impact on the tax base for 1 hour of time. Worst case scenario, like we can reach out to Mr. Smurl and organizers and say this is the contingent of get your volunteers in place to have members there for coordinating traffic control. Other than that, the other 2 points are mediocre at best for time. So it's just to offset a one-off by doing a precedence by doing this. There's no precedence being created. It's one event, and we've all sat here before and said, yes, we recognize this one event. For North Dundas, I think the Morwood one is the one event for Remembrance Day. Yes, Winchester's is very well planned and well attended, but Morwood's is superior.
Thank you for your thoughts, Councillor. Councillor Lennox. You can follow Councillor Lennox and Councillor Urick.
I guess I'll run counter to Councillor Lennox. This is less about, in my mind anyway, this is less about Remembrance Day, though that is a significant day. This is the fact that, so if the Winchester Legion comes to us and says, we're not doing it anymore, that's on us to do it. The Chester Legion comes to us and says, we're not doing it anymore, is that on us to do it? The Garden Market Party doesn't want to run the barricades or anything anymore. If they were to shut down Main Street, is that on us to do it? Winchester Bike Night comes back and they don't want to have anything to do with any of that anymore. Is that on us to do it? Should we be spending? I get it, and I understand your background. And I thank you
Just
for
to be
your service.
fair and point of order, through the fire chief here, fire department does provide staff to do all the gates for
Absolutely.
the bike night. So we are
Absolutely.
committed, should it come back.
But if the committee in and of itself for that single event says we don't want to do it anymore, is that on the municipality to take it over? Because it's not happening in the summer because they didn't have the volunteers for it and we're burned out and we didn't swoop in to save it. And I'm not suggesting to downplay that Remembrance Day is not of significance, because it truly is. And I will agree with you, this is a very superior service in Morwood. But I think what's getting lost in all of this is that I believe the volunteer committee that is running this service currently in Morwood is aging, getting tired. There's nobody else coming back in, and it seems that it's falling to us to save it. And that's the real, what I take from this report. Less so of the issues and more of it may go away if we don't take it on. To the multi-page report, I would say it happens every year on November 11th between a certain, why can't we have one and change the date? Why are we making them do it every year? It's always the same way. And if we can find common ground for the other issues, then there's common ground for the other issues. But I do take issue with the fact that it's been presented to this council as, take it on, you should take it on. Or that, all respect to Mr. Smurl, it gets snuck in his South Nation conservation update to kind of put us all collectively on the spot during a different meeting, and now here we are dealing with it. So I'm not suggesting we just throw it away and say no, but I'm also suggesting that we don't just take it on because we should. There is a much bigger conversation here, and there's logistical things here that we need to deal with that are not just commonplace.
Okay.
Just a quick rebuttal, Mr. Mayor.
Well, I'm not sure if we need rebuttals, but I'll give you a quick one.
Okay, just
because others may want to weigh in too.
Yeah, going Councillor Urick's points, yes, very valid. I don't have information where Mr. Smurl is throwing it on us. The way this reads, the only point is having personnel at the barricades. Now, if they're unable to get the personnel to do that, yeah, I'm fine with that. I don't think the township should provide, and I think I alluded to that when I talked about point 3, like 20 minutes of whatever. But placing barricades, that's pretty easy. We see them dropped off for Meet Me on Main Street and everything else, which is what, tonight? Oh, okay. And everything else. Going to the comment of, yes, they're aging, but last year at the event, Mr. Smurl did introduce us to the next generation who's taking over the event in Morwood. And with all volunteer outfits out there, yes, they're facing a demographic issue. Volunteerism is dying, but the Morwood event's strong. That's my rebuttal, Mr.
Yeah, thank you very much. Further comments from other members of council? Deputy Mayor.
I agree with Matthew. Councillor Urick, Councillor Urick. The remembrance service in Winchester is arranged by the Legion, and so this may, in the future, they may decide, well, we don't want to do it anymore. We want you to do it, and so this is starting that conversation. So I'm not comfortable with that.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor. Councillor Hannibal.
I'm afraid, well, I agree with Councillor Urick. Is this on? I don't believe it's something that we should get into. Just leave it alone and let it be as it is.
Thank you. I guess I do get a chance. I think that there are things that in this request that need to be considered, thought about, how we're going to manage, because everything has changed as we talked about the fire service and the need for changing trucks. But we will, and I fully anticipate if we assume, as it's written, assume responsibility on an annual basis for the following tasks. Those tasks may increase. I think we just need to come to a better understanding of what has created bullet 1, 2, and 3, and what ways we can overcome the challenges presented by bullet 1, 2, and 3. And I think there's an opportunity for that. As for I am uncomfortable with comparing one Remembrance Day service with another. They're all vitally important, equally important. Some are, there's greater attendance at some than others, but the whole intent of the Remembrance Day service is to allow an opportunity for people to observe and remember. And we are part of that. So we do need to continue doing the things we do, because I really don't want to make it a hard discussion on those points and future points, because we do other things for other groups in the community. And I don't want to start saying, well, we do this, or as council says, well, this is the cast in stone, this is what we do for events, because what we cast in stone for one will be cast in stone for them all. I think we need to work with each group in its own fashion. And it's not about setting a precedent, but if we say this is the way it has to be done, then some of the events that we do have staff attending, they will be challenged, because we don't do that in this event or in that event. And I don't want that. I want to work with each group. I think staff needs to work. I think the council needs to understand the challenges, and find a way to ensure that those things that take place in our communities continue to take place in our communities in the fashion that best represents the volunteers in the community and still stays on track with what we can do as township and the corporation. I'm not in favor of supporting this myself, but I don't vote on this unless I have to, because I think there's conversation that needs to take place, understand the challenges that are being presented. I guess we'll go around one more time. Councillor Urick.
I was just going to piggyback on that, because I think that is kind of the crux of it for me here, is that these are not municipally run events. We can play a bit part, we can support here and there, but the acknowledgement and the recognition and any sort of championing should go to the organizers of them, not to us. Yeah. These are not ours. Let's make sure that it's the volunteers that get recognized for these sorts of events, and making sure that they continue to operate. And that's for all events, Remembrance Day or otherwise. So that's kind of the real thing here. And to your point, Mr. Mayor, there certainly is a conversation to be had. This isn't us saying no and that's it. But I think there's more we can do versus kind of taking on all responsibility, as it seems to be indicated here.
We'll go from Councillor Urick to Deputy Mayor. You're done? Councillor Lennox?
I'm done.
Good. So, we have a mover, we have a seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing one. It's been carried. But thank you for your thoughts. I think we had a good discussion on that. And I think some points that need to be brought up were brought up, and I trust that there'll be further conversation, and we will find a solution that's going to satisfy everyone. We're going to move to 5.4B, disposition of property on Gladstone Street, Winchester. Do I have a mover? Deputy Mayor, seconder, Councillor Lennox. Be it resolved that council declare the municipally owned property located between Civic number 468 and number 472 Gladstone Street in Winchester, identified as PIN number 6615103005, surplus to the needs of the municipality, and authorize the Director of Transportation to advertise the property for public sale in accordance with the procedures outlined in the Township of North Dundas Sale and Disposition of Land Policy number 17-2007. Mr. Cheney.
Thank you again, Mayor Fraser, members of council. So a property search has shown that the township owns a .08 acre service lot on the west side of Gladstone Street in Winchester between Civic number 468 and 472, shown in red on the map below. Staff has determined that this vacant property is not required for operational purposes and recommend that it be sold. A real estate agent has been contacted to determine the appropriate listing price for the property, and a rough estimate based on other property sales in North Dundas and surrounding municipalities is approximately $130,000.
Questions, comments, members of council? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, seeing none, that's carried. Thank you, Mr. Cheney. And we're going to move into 5.5, Recreation and Culture. An action plan for recreation culture strategic plan. A mover. Councillor Urick, a seconder. Councillor Annabelle. Be resolved that council approve the action plan for the recreation culture strategic plan as presented. Ms. Meerberg.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Following Council's adoption of the Township of North Dundas Recreation and Culture Strategic Plan on May 7th, 2025, staff have developed a detailed 12-month action plan focused on enhancing program offerings, optimizing facility use, and improving financial sustainability. Staff will report back on the progress and accomplishments, and an annual review process will be established to maintain alignment with long-term goals. High-level long-term objectives, including planning for a multi-use recreation complex, arena replacement, investment in outdoor amenities, and regional collaboration are on shared services.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Councillor Lennox.
Can you scroll up, please? To the first bullet there. No, I appreciate this, Ms. Meerberg. I really do. I just want to point out bullet number 1's a little ironic following Remembrance Day discussion there, but
Thank you, Councillor. Anything further? Others? No other comments, then all those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. Thank you, Ms. Meerberg. The Cheshire and District Arena condenser replacement and capital improvements update. A mover and a seconder is required for that. Councillor Lennox, Deputy Mayor. Moved by Councillor Lennox, seconded by the Deputy Mayor Bergeron. Be it resolved that council authorize staff to proceed with the purchase of a new condenser unit for the Cheshire and District Arena from AC Mechanical for the stipulated price of $123,287 plus HST, and that council approve budget amendment number 2025-07 in the amount of up to $128,287. Ms. Meerberg.
The condenser unit at the Chesterville and District Arena was installed in 2007 and is nearing its end of service life. Inspections have revealed internal rust and sediment buildup, raising the risk of failing during the upcoming ice season. Due to long lead times, so 14 to 16 weeks, staff recommend proactively purchasing a replacement unit to minimize potential service disruptions. Staff proposed purchasing the new condenser from AC Mechanical, which provided the lowest of the two bids. A budget amendment for up to $5,000, so a total of $128,287 is recommended to include a contingency for any unforeseen mechanical issues. While the township's $1 million grant application to the Community Sport and Recreation Infrastructure Fund was unsuccessful, the condenser remains a high priority capital item. Staff proposed covering the cost through the General Reserve Working Funds with a plan to pursue external financing in 2026. Should external financing not be secured, staff will return to council with alternative funding options.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Yes, thank you. Councilor Lennox.
Sorry, Mayor, won't let you dive on that grenade. Ms. Muirberg, this is a big ask, but I'm gonna go in favor because I know it's pretty sweaty out there without these condenser units, and the ice sweats, and yeah. And you need this to be successful and for good ice. It's a big price tag, but 3 months ago, we all agreed both rinks need the investments. So I'm in favor.
Deputy Mayor, thank you, Councilor. Deputy Mayor.
I agree. We're between a rock and a hard plate. We weren't successful in getting any funding for our recreation, which is really depressing. I don't know what it is about North Dundas that I don't know, we just lack so much funding. But in order to have ice, we have to have it. So there's not much choice here.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councilor Urick.
Well, you must remember, Deputy Mayor, we don't exist in Eastern Ontario, as far as Queen's Park is concerned. That's the message I keep seeing. So anyway, despite that, yeah, very much, we don't have a choice. Our hands are very much tied here. So here we are.
Thank you. And Councilor Annabelle.
I agree. It's good to be proactive on some of these things. The upheaval it causes when something like that breaks down takes time. I think it's a good idea to work at it now.
Okay, saying all that, all those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. Thank you, Ms. Muirberg. And we're going to move right up to the consent agenda. Do I have a mover, a seconder? Councilor Annabelle and Councilor Urick. Moved by Councilor Annabelle, second by Councilor Urick. Be it resolved that all items listed under the consent agenda be approved / filed as recommended. All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. I'm going to move to item 7, items for consideration, unfinished business. Are there any updates from directors? We have 2 items, 7.1A, the budget amendment for Joel Steele, no update. Ms. Muirberg. And 7.1B, 10641 Main Street, South Mountain. Mr. Paul, any update?
Yes, I was contacted by the applicant on Friday. They are undergoing right now a record of site condition on the property. As a former industrial type property, they have to do on a commercial property. They have to do a record of site condition. They are trying to complete that before we do the rezoning to make sure the site is clean and has a clean bill of health before providing or rezoning it into a residential zone to allow residential development. So they're doing their due diligence on that, and we're still waiting for the results, hopefully in the next month.
Thank you. And then 7.2, the county official plan amendments 27 and 28. Mr. Paul?
So we received this last Tuesday, a notice of 2 official plan amendments coming forward to County Council this month on the 23rd at 9 o'clock. They are doing simultaneous amendments, number 27 and number 28, to the official plan. These are amendments. The first one is enacting a settlement that was arrived through the Ontario Land Tribunal. We met on that and came to a settlement on an appeal of a previous amendment that we tried to pass to do a major open space designation for all lands owned by the Conservation Authority, lands owned by the United Counties, and lands owned by the municipality. The Oshman Forest is one that comes to mind. There's others in and around that South Nation owns, where partly are in the village or in the hamlet or rural settlement area of Ormond, and part of it's inside the settlement area. The ones outside, we were trying to make it open space to match what's inside. The province said we don't like the term open space. They appealed it, and because open space also includes golf courses, I don't see South Nation changing its lands into golf courses, but they were concerned about golf courses being permitted on any of these lands. I don't see the United Counties or ourselves turning our open spaces into golf courses, but that was their concern, and they appealed it. So they've selected a new name to call it conservation lands. It is an overlay. So this First Amendment is basically going to change it from open space to conservation lands to clean that up, and it's part of our settlement hearing. The advantage of this layer will be the public will now know which lands are available for them to use. It's public lands. You can go on it. You can walk them. You know, you can utilize those lands for your own personal pleasure if you wish to go for a walk, things like that. A lot of the conservation lands also have signage and trails in them, but this will help the public to know which lands are private and which lands are public in ownership. So that's the official plan amendment number 7. It's more of a technicality, putting that through. The next one is official plan amendment number 28. This one has some significance as far as traveling on county roads. There was a proposal for one or two of the municipalities. They were asking for more severances on county roads, and to do that, they wanted to up the numbers of severances allowed per kilometer. They essentially want to double it up, as you'll see in my notes, the first page, from 3 entrances per kilometer to 6 entrances per kilometer. The net impact of that on lands that are designated rural in the official plan is you end up with a lot more entrances. You end up with the school buses stopping there. Waste management has to stop to get the garbage. You have a new collection agency for recycling also. There's another stop there. I don't know if you've commuted in the morning on a county road when you hit with school buses. I know when I leave my house, I have to leave at a certain time, or I'm waiting for 6 school buses on the same road, and it'll take me an extra 10 minutes to get down that road if I don't time it right. So this is the eventuality of allowing more severances and upping the numbers is what the counties is trying to do on county roads, is you end up slowing traffic down during certain times. It does become more dangerous for, staff picking up garbage, excuse me, and others, mail deliveries and that sort of thing that are still going on. It does result in ribbon development, which is one of the things in planners. We don't like ribbon development. It does create a residential road out of a county road, essentially. What you're doing is increasing the number of severances there. It doesn't impact North Dundas as much because most of our land is prime agricultural land. The province doesn't allow severances on prime agricultural land. So it doesn't impact North Dundas as much, but if you are traveling through the counties, it will impact you if you're traveling, if there's double the number of severances on certain roads that are designated rural in there. So the counties are asking for comment from council. I don't know if you want to provide any feedback before their meeting on the 23rd. It's just comments that they're looking for from each council. They've asked us to put it forward. Coming from North Dundas, do we have any comments or not? Is essentially what they're looking for from this council with respect to the amendment. So 2 of the councils have asked for it to have this amendment come forward. Doesn't mean everyone agrees with it. That's entirely up to the county council when it goes to a vote. I'll pass back to the
Thank you,
mayor.
Mr. Paul. Thoughts on that? I do have some thoughts, but I'll ordain to the deputy mayor to start.
Mr. Mayor, I just had a question on the zoning amendment just prior to this. Can I address that right now, and then we can get to
The
my
zoning
question?
amendment prior to this. you
Yes,
said
10641 Main Street. I just wasn't clear what that property was. Is that the property next to the fairgrounds that wants to be turned into apartments? Okay, thank you.
Any comments on the 27 and 28 in the OPA? I do have a comment, but I want to ask a question first, and I think the others in the room would have seen it. Those traffic counters that I'm seeing now on county roads, this is why I'm seeing the traffic counters?
Yeah, they do that annually on all the roads, trying to
Okay,
get
so I thought
up-to-date
it might have
numbers.
been to determine, the 1,000 to 4,000 vehicles, but I'm guessing that's part of it.
That's
So they
correct.
can establish what roads will have the ribbon development on it. And I did have, Mr. Director Paul and I were talking about this the other day. I traveled up into the Glengarrys for something, and there is surprising, because it's not all prime agriculture, surprising how many entrances I found to be on the county road compared to what we see out here in North Dundas. And my comment to Mr. Paul was, yeah, that's a lot, and they're going to double that. And so I do have feelings about that, but it's my feelings about doubling the number of entrances where I feel already the 3, I guess, per K is a lot, because what we're used to or what I'm used to out here. I don't think it wouldn't be fair for me to establish what goes on out there, because it's a different type of agriculture is not the same there as it is here. It's surprising how many entrances you encounter when you see 3 in a kilometer, as I can only imagine what 6 would look like. It'd be like driving down a street in one of our rural settlement areas, like just boom, 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 cars pulling out, kids on bicycles, people going out for a walk, leaving their driveways. It's going to be quite a challenge for those folks that have them doubled to that number. To your point, Mr. Paul, I don't think it really affects us in North Dundas that much, but who knows, down the road, when things change, maybe this will become an effect to us, and it will change the landscape and change how we commute, how business is conducted, how commerce goes up and down the road. Mr. Paul.
Yeah, one further comment I didn't mention, just hit me again. We do get a lot of subdivision development here because you're not allowed to have severances in a lot of our municipality. So we end up with a lot more organized development, and it's more compact development, which is what the province is actually asking us to do. And we do it well here because we have so much agricultural land. And that's the downside to allowing more severances, is they won't get subdivisions because you're in competition with a developer when you can sell off a lot cheaper off of a county road than you can out of a subdivision, where you have to build the roads and pay for the road and all the infrastructure, the stormwater ponds and all the rest of it. So if you want to encourage subdivisions, you should be trying to shut down severances, because that way people start, it's more financially viable for them to do a subdivision. So that's one of the downsides to the municipalities that are trying to push for more severances. You don't get the subdivisions then.
It's funny, to interrupt you, it's, whenever you say that, and the OPA says this, and then we think of the communal water systems that we've been talking about recently, and communal water and sewer, which allows growth in rural areas, subdivision growth in areas without municipal water or sewer, and so they push for this and they push for that. It's quite a scattershot approach to how they manage the lands within Ontario. Comments. I think Mr. Paul is wondering, do we want to make an official comment? Deputy Mayor.
So is this the counties trying to make this amendment? Is it the county level that is putting forward this amendment?
That's correct.
Okay. So basically, Mr. Mayor, what that means is those people that have the ribbon development in the other townships are the ones that are probably going to make a comment on this. And like you say, in our case in North Stormont, it's not a big issue right now.
Or North Dundas.
Oh, sorry. What did I say? Sorry, North Dundas. Okay.
To your point, it doesn't affect us very much, but that ribbon development will increase, and but that's up to them. Thank you. But thank you for bringing it to our attention. Number 8, notices of motion, seeing none. Boards and committees. I wasn't at the last county council meeting. Thank you to Councillor Annabelle, and he went my place, and the deputy mayor. Any updates?
Okay, the updates that affect our township of North Dundas. The Increment Bridge is slated to be completed by October 20th. The Wiley Creek, which is crossing 43 highway just west of Hallville, is expected to have a full 5-day closure sometime after July 15th. One of the good news items was that relining 21 culverts in all the townships. The bids came in way under what we had budgeted for, like almost, it came in at 2/3 less than what so there would be a surplus for the culverts of $243,000. So I thought, once in a while it's good to have good news instead of saying we have overruns and overcosts. But in this case, it came in much lower.
Thank you. Councillor Annable, anything to add?
No, I think Teresa's got it.
Okay. The Garden Party Market, they're trying to schedule a meeting in the near future for the Christmas market, I believe. I'm sure. I know it's a Christmas market. So nothing to report there. Art in the waterfront, Councillor Annable.
I attended their wrap-up meeting a couple of weeks ago. They were quite pleased with the event. This time it was only a day and a half instead of 2 full days like it has been. But all in all, they were quite pleased with the day and the attendance.
Yes, and CDHS, Councillor.
That meeting was the night after Art on the Waterfront. They had a guest speaker. She is an author, Jeanette Guy Mayer, and the whole meeting was her speaking. She's a writer. She takes names of people in the township and the area that have a history and tries to put it into a storybook form. So I probably made that simpler than it is, but they're all easy read and they're all quite interesting on local people.
Thank you. And I'd just like to add to that before I get to the Councillor Lennox. I received information today. I think it somewhat pertains to the Chesterfield District Historical Society. There's a one-day bus trip leaving Christchurch United in Chesterfield with 3 stops with local points of interest. There's going to be a stop in Iroquois at Ross Video, a stop at the Iroquois Canal, and a stop at Upper Canada Creamery. And I have a feeling that there is some connection to CDHS and the CCU in that event, but maybe we'll get that posted somewhere on our website so those in the community that are interested can find out the details to purchase tickets. Councillor Lennox, Green Action Gang.
No update on my favorite Green Action Gang. Chesterville is looking pretty nice, but if Miss Meerberg, after the meeting, if you can just give me the name of the individuals for them to contact if they have any rec-type questions. Thank you.
Okay. And Dairy Fest, Deputy Mayor?
No update. There's a meeting on Monday.
Thank you. Downtown Winchester, anything, either one?
We planted the flowers in the pots back on the main corner. That's about all we've done.
And Morwood RA?
Morwood RA is in Morwood right now, celebrating Meet Me on Main Street, selling food, fundraising, etc. And just going to put this out there, if anyone wants to take my spot with the MRA to get a fresh perspective and, change it up a little bit, let me know. We'll make a trade.
Okay, good. So I'm going to go back, and I got to notice that I want to get back to 7-1A, and I'm going to go over to Ms. Meerberg and about the budget amendment for the Joel Steele Community Center. Ms. Meerberg?
Yes, thank you, sir. Sorry about that. I do have an update, rather, for the sound systems for the arenas. So I did reach out to Octasound, have received 1 quote, which is for the Chesterfield and District Arena, and just waiting on a quote for the Joel Steele. I did reach out to the different directors across SDNG for the Recreation and Culture departments, and it sounds like 2 of them have Octasounds in their arenas. So I'm hoping to go and visit those, ask some questions, and see how that operates. And so I will bring council an update at a future meeting.
Thank you. A question to that, Councillor Lennox?
Just a comment, if you could reach out to the primary user groups to take their concerns and see what the other townships have and see if you can find a solution that meets their needs as well as your needs, that would probably be very beneficial.
Okay, good. So then, if there's nothing further, Ms. Meerberg, on that. I'm going to continue to go down to council comments. Just before I kick it off, I'm going to look over to our CAO, Ms. Muller, just to give us an update on, if she, as best she can, as to what took place and what the changes to the schedule were last night, what affected that, and what the future holds for the fireworks that were postponed.
Sure. Through you, Mr. Mayor, due to unforeseen circumstances, because of a medical emergency, we were unable to proceed with Canada Day fireworks as planned. However, staff contacted the company who provides us with the fireworks supply. Now we have rescheduled the firework display for Saturday, July 5th, between 9:30 and 10:15 p.m. And we've also updated our social media page as well as our website to reflect this new information.
Thank you. That's good news. I'm sure a lot of people were gearing up to have a nice evening of fireworks at the high school, but that'll be July 5th.
That's correct. Thank you.
Good news. And the other comment, I'll leave it open to council comments before I weigh in any further.
I'm curious.
No, it's just about Meet Me on Main Street. The season starts tonight, and maybe not everyone's as excited as I am. I'm sure lots are, but I always look forward to I always look forward to a nice evening in the company of others from North Dundas, and I always especially look forward to kicking it off in Morewood. And this series is starting, and it's a wonderful thing. That's my comment. Be sure to attend all of them. You can find the information on the website, on social media, but it's the same 6 communities once again, and I see signs out and about promoting that, and my thanks to all the staff and their efforts. Thanks to the local people that ensure that everything's up to snuff, because it is a community event, and it's a community support event, and it's meant for us in the community. So we're going to kick it off tonight. That's my council comment. No? Okay. So we're going to take, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to have to shut it down until 4:30. We're going to take a recess for 23 minutes. And at 4:30, the public meeting will take place. So we're going to take a little break. And until 4:30, take care. Okay, seeing as it's 4:31, I'd like to welcome everyone back. We'll continue our meeting. And the next item up is the public meeting of council to consider a proposed zoning bylaw amendment to the Township of Mountain zoning bylaw number 79-6. Everyone present for this public meeting is urged to sign the appropriate attendance sheet. Has everyone signed the appropriate? Thank you. And now have a presentation regarding the proposed amendment by the Director of Development Services, Mr. Pohl.
Thank you, Mayor Fraser. So this is a public meeting with regard to an application from Shellian Inc. I'll get into the property details in a moment. Sorry. So with regard to an application for a zoning amendment, only a specified person, a public body, or registered owner, upon making oral or written submissions at or before this public meeting can appeal a decision to the council of the Council of North Dundas to the Ontario Land Tribunal. That's section 3419 of the Act. So the application we're looking at today is to rezone the subject lands from rural to estate residential 3. And the property is at the north side of Hallville, the northwest side, behind the fire hall, the existing fire hall. Its location is part of Lot 6, Concession 9. It's being Part 1 on Reference Plan 8R5950 in Hallville. That being the former Township of Mountain, now the Township of North Dundas. So we did advertise for this public meeting back on June 12th. We erected signs on the property and notices were mailed out to all the property owners within 120 meters. The existing property is vacant land. The proposed use is a residential subdivision development. Under the official plan, it's currently within the rural settlement area, and the current zoning is rural. The proposed zoning is to put it to an estate residential exception 3 zone, and the total acreage is about 17 acres or almost 7 hectares. So I've mentioned the purpose. The effect will be that the residential subdivision, in accordance with the draft plan approval, it'll be consisting of a new road. It's Hetley Street. It's a continuation of that out to County Road 1, with provisions made for a future connection north and 13 residential lots of approximately 1 acre each. And based on the size of the property and the width of the property, the proposal is for long linear lots, and that's the reason for the estate residential. That best suits this property because of the narrow lots and deep lots that they are, based on the existing lot fabric of the original parcel. So part of it, we have to look at the provincial policy statement that was issued in 2024, and it calls for an appropriate range and mix of housing options in section 216. And rural settlement areas are supposed to be the focus, that should be an F, of development and growth. Under the official plan from the United Counties, it talks about local municipalities. They're encouraged to and prioritize development into lands within existing settlement areas. We do circulate the application to public bodies and ministries. We received from the County Transportation Services a comment in support of the proposed amendment application to permit the development of the subject lands for the creation of new residential lots. I did have a neighbor attend our office. He called, emailed, and attended my office. He was concerned about existing flooding on his property and the flooding coming off of this subdivision onto his property. They abut each other. All the engineering is looked at with regard to this subdivision. The approvals are still going through. With regard to stormwater management, he had 5 questions, and we've just received a response from our engineering firm back to him. I'll be sending that probably tomorrow with regard to the response to his questions regarding the stormwater and stormwater management. All that has to be dealt with on site with regard to the subdivision. You cannot put more water away from the subdivision. It has to equal what currently leaves the property. And I'll turn it back to the mayor for questions from the public that are present.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Pohl. Excuse me. Now open the meeting up to questions and comments as you suggest. Members of the public are asked to state their name and address for the clerk to record before providing any comments on the proposed amendment. We'll now open it up to members of the public. Questions, comments, thoughts about the growth taking place in Hallville? Here's your chance. Seeing that there's no questions, comments from members of the public, questions, comments from council. Councilor Uhrig.
I'll credit Council Lennox for this. Just internet. That is a constant issue in Hallville. he's heard it because he lives there, and I've heard it too, and I think the rest of us on council probably have too. So I realize that that's not our purview, but the developer surely needs to be aware that it is lacking there. And when you charge what is charged for some of those homes that have been built there, and you don't have access to internet in today's day and age, is just kind of makes you shake your head.
Point taken.
I appreciate Councillor Urick taking Councillor Lennox's thoughts and expressing it because, yes, I give you credit for giving him credit. So, yes, no, and that was a concern, I know, with the previous ones, and I'm sure that problem is not going to be a problem. I think everyone's heard the message that has control of that issue. So now that we've heard from all who wish to unless the Deputy Mayor, did I see you? No? Now we have heard from all who wish to make representations regarding the proposed bylaw amendment. This therefore completes the public meeting. And we take it back to, is there anything further, Mr. Pohl? Nope. Okay. So that concludes the public meeting. Just one more reminder, meet me on Main Street.
Oh, the bylaw.
5.2A. Yes, thank you, Madam Clerk. 5.28, Mr. Pohl. It was something that the lot frontage exemption for 10385 Clark Road.
Oh, this is a zoning amendment?
I'm looking at the wrong one. Yes, yeah, yes, thank you very much. I looked at 5, I should have put my glasses on. Let me get that corrected. There we go. 5.2A, bylaw number 2025-51. I need a mover. Deputy Councillor Urick and a seconder is Deputy Mayor Bergeron. Be resolved that bylaw number 2025-51 being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 79-6 as amended to amend the zoning of the property at part of Lot 6, Concession 9, Part 1 on Reference Plan 8R-5950 Hallville, PIN number 661000407 from rural RU to estate residential, exception 3, ER-3, be passed and enacted the second day of July 2025. Questions, comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. If there's nothing else, I look forward to seeing as many people as possible in Morwood this evening. The weather looks promising. It looks fantastic for an event where we're all outside enjoying each other's company. So until then, take care. And I just got to find my documents. Mover, Councillor Urick, a seconder. Councillor Lennox, be it resolved that council adjourn at 4:39 p.m. to the call of the chair. All those in favor? Carried.